And joining us now to talk about the latest on the war front is NewsNation national security contributor Lieutenant General Richard Newton. He served as the U.S. Air Force Assistant Vice Chief of Staff. Always great to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning, Kelly. Very, very busy Friday morning, isn't it?
It certainly is. So let's start, if we can, with the humanitarian crisis we outlined. So Egypt and Israel remain at odds over details of getting relief through the Rafah crossing. Among these disputes, whether to allow in fuel and how to screen the convoys there. So the U.S. has been very optimistic that the border will be open. But as of now, do you believe that will happen?
Well, right now, it's an extraordinarily difficult and rather delicate situation because, Egypt now allowing or purporting to allow what we call the Rafah Gate down there in the southern part of Gaza along the Sinai Peninsula. Whether or not they're able to follow through on that is less on their side of the border, but on the Israeli side or the Gaza side, because as Robert reported so well, you've got Hamas staging near there. You've got international positions there. You've got the UN and others. So it's to be seen, but it would be vital and very important that we get humanitarian flow through the Rafah Gate, and then it will begin hopefully to create even more humanitarian aid. Robert said 20 trucks, that's minuscule, but it's a start. And I believe it would be very important to get the humanitarian aid to the Palestinian citizens, these innocent civilians, who are obviously in the middle of harm's way.
Yeah, certainly a dire situation there, absolutely. So Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu Thursday, he warned that this fight would be anything but a short-term engagement and that they will need continuous support. Moving forward, Lieutenant, how do you see strategies change the longer this war drags out?
Well, as Prime Minister Netanyahu articulated, he's trying to set the expectations both of certainly the Israeli people, but also external audiences, both in the Arab world, but certainly in the support he's received from the West. This is going to be a long engagement, Kelly. This isn't going to be days or weeks. This is going to be months and probably even extend throughout 2024. And so he's trying to set those expectations as the conditions in Gaza, the Israeli Air Force continues to pound Hamas targets, their command and control and intelligence and other capabilities or weapon storage areas and so forth. But he can only do that for so long because there's a narrow window here of outside perception, especially in the Gulf states and the Arab world, that he continues to pound with air power Gaza and Hamas targets. But that window is going to close where it will become where he will need to act. Also on the fact that he's got, the Israeli people are anticipating that as well. But the conditions got to be met so that the Israeli Defense Forces, when they go in, they have softened up those targets as best they possibly can. But they're also on the clock, Kelly. Let's not forget, there's 203 hostages still in harm's way. And every day that goes by, that's one less day of opportunity to bring them home safely.
It certainly is. So, as you know, fighting is also broken out along the border between Lebanon and Israel. How does this complicate now Israel's fight?
Well, a second front that would open up in the north between Hezbollah and Israel would be extraordinarily complicated, but also be very stressing on the Israeli Defense Forces. We don't see that right now, and Robert reported that there's uptick in rocket attacks, and we call that an increase in operations tempo from the adversary. In military jargon, but it bears close watching. Hezbollah, Kelly, is the most effective military, in that part of the region in terms of the puppet terrorist groups of Iran. Hamas is good, but Hezbollah is very, very strong, very, very capable, and so forth. In fact, the State Department has given a warning for all Americans to leave. It's not just, it's on top of their overall other cautionary warning for worldwide travel, but Americans are really recommended to leave as soon as possible because of the explosive nature in the streets of Lebanon and so forth. One last point is that we're still days away from the second carrier task force, the Eisenhower Strike Group, to get in the area. They're steaming towards the western Mediterranean. Now we'll be getting into the eastern Mediterranean to join the Gerald Ford carrier strike group. That will be important to deter and dissuade Hezbollah from acting. It'll also not only show U.S. support of Israel, but we can provide capabilities such as intelligence, and that strike group off the coast of Lebanon and just northern part of Israel will be a daunting symbol for Hezbollah and others and our adversaries to act. And so that will be a very important deterrent aspect of the ensuing conflict.
All right. Retired Lieutenant General Richard Newton, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.